All right, hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Too Hard to Pass podcast. I am your host, Juan Martinez, and Jacques Slade is to my left. I'm still not clear on how this works. Like, it's been the right. You're always to the right, to my right this time, so we'll see how that goes out. So anyway, Jacques.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's super hot here in Cali. I don't know where people are listening from. But it is hella hot this week. We're in the triple digits easy, like almost like 110. Depending on where you are in Southern California, you could be like 115 or 113, something like that. Like we're probably gonna hit 110 here today and 110 tomorrow as well. So it's hot. So I'm trying to get my golf in early.
Oh yeah, no, totally. That's the move. Yeah, I know over here where I'm from, like it's going to get as high as like 108 by the weekend or something like that. And I mean, it's a typical Southern California thing to complain about the weather when it's really hot. I mean, like I think in the East Coast, I think they're experiencing fall now. And I'm like, what's that? Which is
weird. Like it's still summer, people. Calm down. Why would you live in a place like that? But,
and to be fair, we don't actually have like the humid days like we do, like say in Florida or where I used to grow up in the Philippines. It's nothing like that at all. Nothing like that at all.
It's just a dry. It's dry. Like you got to drink a lot of water because it's gonna suck the water right out of you.
Speaking of which, my water bottle is here somewhere. But anyways, good show today, Jacques. Good show. What did you think?
Yeah, good show. A lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff to talk about. I'm excited about the podcast. I feel like we can get into some things a little bit more, which is always fun.
Yeah, totally. So we're going to start things off, actually, Jacques, with a topic that we didn't cover on the podcast. So the Nike Air Foamposite One is back. And by back, I mean they're bringing back the OG colorway, the dark neon royal. It's always been like different colors, Jacques. It's like royal blue, royal.
Yeah.
Now it's dark neon, and I'm confused as to actually which is which, but they're all always called the OG Foamposite. And I guess that's what they're calling this one. This release that's going to drop next week. It's the Nike Air Foamposite One Dark Neon Royal. And again, Nike is pushing the Foamposites. And I guess my question for you, Jacques, is as somebody who... I would say like I'm a fair weather Foamposite fan. I have my certain colorways that I like. I have certain colorways that I just don't particularly care for. I think I've had maybe 2 to 3 pairs my entire life. It's just one of those things I've kind of appreciated from afar mostly. So it coming back is, to me, okay, they're doing it again. Cool. I hope it works out for them. But for you, Jacques, like, what do you think about the foams in general?
Yeah, no disrespect to the people that wear foams. It's never been a sneaker that's been on my radar. Right. I have no attachment to it. There's no nostalgia to it for me. There's nothing to it. I respect it for what it is. Its place in the culture, how it's, the things that have been inspired by it. But the Foamposite was never a sneaker that I was like, I want those. I want to go out and buy those. So I think I'm very similar to you in this situation where it's like, okay, cool, great. It's back. That's awesome. I love it for the people that love it. You know what I mean? I don't love it for me. I love it for the people that love it. And to get the original colorway back, it's always great to get the OG colors back in anything that releases. So to see Nike or Nike Sportswear probably take this angle and give it back in the original colorway. Although I feel like the original colorway has been retroed several times over. So it's not like this is a new moment in Foamposite history. This is almost like a repeat of Foamposite history, but it's a beautiful looking shoe. I think it looks great. It's obviously has its historical significance. It has its, player significance. So it has all the elements of a great moment for sneaker culture. So, and the people that are into that, it's great for them. Because they get to relive that moment, have that nostalgia, and hopefully some new people find it and get into it as well. It just wasn't something that I ever really took to during when it first released or when it retroed. I think I have maybe 2 pair of Foamposites, and I think I wore them once, like in the studio. I've never worn them. I don't think I've ever worn them publicly. Like I bought the Comme des Garçons pair just because I was like, oh, that looks cool, that looks dope. It's one of those things like, yeah, it's different, and you know, that's a whole probably a different episode altogether. But buying sneakers because they look great in pictures and in photos, but they don't necessarily fit your style. And I think that's why I bought those. I was like, oh man, that looks really great. This looks different. I love this, and I bought them. But then I've never worn them. They're just sitting in my storage unit. But again, I respect the shoe. I love it. I've done unboxings on Foamposites. Like, I'm all in that regard to the historical significance of the shoe. But outside of that, I don't think I would actually wear them. Happy to tell the story about them because that's what I do. But as far as wear them, I don't see myself wearing them very often.
Right, it feels like for you, it's a style thing. It's just never suited your style or anything like that. Even when they were first coming out, it's just something about it. Yeah,
and when they first came out, they were performance basketball shoes, and they just, even like on the court, they just didn't appeal to me. Like, they didn't appeal to me on the court or from a lifestyle lens. They just didn't. They didn't have that draw for me. Maybe it was because I couldn't afford them, and so I've mentally blocked them out back then when they first released. That I was like, this shoe is ugly. It costs too much money. But but yeah, never. I don't think. Yeah, I've never even played a basketball game in them.
Yeah, and me neither. It's always been just one of those shoes that I see, and it feels ahead of its time. Even in 2024. I feel like no other sneaker really compares to the Foamposites even today. Yeah. And there's just something about it that I don't particularly care for, like, you know, wearing them all the time. But I feel like it's something that needs to be around. Like, for like, you know, designers to push for, to like aim for, to be like, hey, this is what we need to like strive for. This is what the future of basketball shoes should look like at some point. But for some reason, we're still not there. Even though it came out, was it 97? And it was worn by Mike Bibby and then eventually Penny Hardaway. And those players were somebody who we looked as like the future. And now it's crazy to think about, like, they're old heads nowadays. And somehow the shoes that they were wearing in 97 still haven't caught up. Us, the basketball shoe design world, has not caught up to the Foamposites in a certain degrry. I mean, there are certain shoes that are like futuristic in look and style. But in a certain degree, some designs still haven't like caught up to the Foamposites, and it's wild to me to think about, just because how forward thinking it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I feel like the Foamposites were on a episode of, was it Star Trek, that they wore Foamposites?
Well, I know a version of, I think it was the Flightposites were
worn. Oh, Flightposit. It was a Flightposit.
They were worn by Green Goblin in the original Spider-Man movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, but there was a Star Trek episode where they wore, I feel like they wore foams. I was watching,
maybe not the Foamposites, but a variation of the foams.
Yeah, maybe it was like Flightpot. Let me see. I'll look it up while we're talking.
Oh, okay. Well, the other thing, Jacques, that I want to talk about with the Foamposites is, you brought it up, was the younger generation and trying to appeal to a younger consumer, because at some point you're going to run out of the old heads, not by aging out or anything like that, but eventually, like, the older heads are going to have the pairs that they want, and they're just not going to buy every new colorway. I mean, the DMV colorway did come out like a couple weeks ago, and I think that's turned out to be like a fairly popular release. But there's only like a certain limit, a ceiling to like that audience. Eventually, you're going to have to move on to the younger consumers. And I don't know how Nike is going to push Foamposites on the younger generation who prefers the chunky trainers, the skate shoes, the dad shoes, that kind of, and because also the price, I believe it's $240. So that's another hindrance to the younger generation who's, you know, feeling the effects of inflation and all the stuff that's going on in the world. $240 sneakers may not be necessarily appealing to them. So I wonder what Nike is going to do to appeal to that younger generation with the foams. I don't see a lane, to be quite honest.
Yeah, foams were popping during the, you know, that mid-20 time period because everybody was just reselling stuff. And so I feel like they kind of got, you know, they got some love back then with that. But overall, I don't see them as a sneaker that this generation is going to become enamored with. It's almost too complicated in a sense of a style. I mean, there's going to be the fashion people that get a fit off and rock them, which is amazing and fantastic. I love that. But I just don't think they're going to be accepted to a wider public. Like they're not going to be an Air Jordan 1 or an Air Force One or a Stan Smith or a Samba. Like they're not going to get that sort of cultural relevance just because I think they look too complicated and they cost too much for that to happen. So for this generation to get into them, I think it would have to be a huge movement by Nike to get this new generation super excited about it. And I don't see that happening.
Do you think a celebrity endorsing them or somebody like, who's down with like the Gen Zers rocking them, do you think that would help? Because I don't know, like you see like Taylor Swift, I guess, moves New Balance sneakers when she was wearing them, or name another young artist who is into sneakers that might move it. But I don't know about foams. Like, could you picture like a young artist wearing foams and people being like, oh, this is the one that I'm going to be rocking it? Like, can somebody move the foams in 2024? I just don't see it, to be quite honest.
I don't see it. I mean, it would have to be Travis. He's like the needle mover for like that kind of bridges generations.
Sure.
But even I don't even see him moving them. It's not going to be Drake because people aren't already,
no.
following Drake's style.
Especially not right now. Not right now.
Yeah, it's more of a flex just to be like, oh, I have a Drake shoes, but no one really like cares in that sense. But it would have to be Travis. Travis is the only person, unless, one of the Kardashians or something like that started rocking foams, rocking all these different kind of foams and we're able to kind of transition style wise. Someone like that, maybe Zendaya. Oh, well, Zendaya does On Running, so that's not even an option for her. But, somebody in that world, kind of like what they did with dunks when like they started wearing dunks and stuff like that, how that really opened up the dunk world. But again, those are simple. They're easy to put on, easy to wear. So I don't see...
They're very versatile.
Yeah.
A lot of people can wear them with different...
happening.
Yeah. And again, this is not us like necessarily bagging on foams or bringing down...
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, it's just, we just want to see like how it can move forward. Because... Yeah. It's been what, like you said, it's like the late 2010s. Oh no, the mid 2010s was really the last time foams were really popping. And, it was the Galaxies, it was those camos, it was those weird looking Weathermans. I think that might have been the start of the decline. But it's been a while since foams have really been a thing in the culture. And I just want to know what that next thing is. And even though it's not going to be for me or you, I just want to see how it's going to, evolve. Not necessarily the look, but like what colorways, what designs they can put on it, what they can do to like appeal to people who want to buy the shoe. I just want to see what it is. And I wish I knew the formula, then we'd be working at Nike. We'd be like, hey, Nike, give us a call. We got the formula for you to make it happen. But I just don't see it, and it's weird. Yeah, we got the keys.
Yeah,
definitely.
We got the keys.
Yeah.
Oh, and that you were right. It was a Flightposite on Star Trek.
Oh,
it was a Flightposite. Yeah, it was Star Trek Voyager. It was Star Trek Voyager, and it was the real funny thing, it was the Flightposite, and The Rock was in that episode.
So it's a very historical episode of Star Trek. Good to what you're saying. We got Flightposites and Black Adam. Oh boy.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
The final boss.
A version of Black Adam. Like the early Black Adam.
Black Adam. That totally ruined the DCEU. That's a whole nother episode. I said what I said. It was what it was. Look, I know people talk about The Rock on the show and like how we kind of constantly bag on him. I've heard the comments. It's not so much that we dislike The Rock. We just think it's funny.
Yeah, it's more funny. Like we love The Rock. Let's be fair. We love The Rock. We're big fans of The Rock. Yeah, but it's more funny. It's
fun to really kind of just, make jokes at his expense because whatever, he's like the biggest star in the world. He can take it. And also, he's a good sport. I mean, if people are paying attention to WWE and, watch WrestleMania, they would understand that The Rock is a good sport and knows how to roll with the punches and knows how to adapt to situations. He was supposed to be a good guy going to WrestleMania. People did not like that. So he went into a bad guy mode. So He's the type of person who is willing to adapt, and good on him. And we're still going to make jokes at his expense in Hard Pass.
Yeah, and let's be clear. The Rock has no idea who we are. He doesn't listen to this podcast. No. He doesn't watch the show.
No.
And we're just talking into the ether. Yeah. Just to be fair.
The closest connection either of us have to The Rock is when we've had like connections with Under Armour. Like I remember doing a video at the Under Armour store in at the Glendale Americana. When it first opened, probably. I did a video of his trainers at the store. That was about the closest connection I have to The Rock. And I think you've done unboxing of some of his like Project Rock stuff.
Yeah, so. They send me his stuff. So I have a few boxes downstairs that I need to unbox.
But, okay.
Yeah.
But but if Rock, you listening, we need those trainers in those $500 shirts you used to wear back in the days. That's your free idea. That's your free idea. Or, you can cut us a check. That'd be great too.
That's funny.
That's funny. So, yeah, moving on though, Jacques. So let's talk about something that I think both of us are really super interested in. And you have the shirt to prove it. Eastside Golf's collaboration with Nike. They just announced it yesterday. They have been frequent collaborators with Jordan Brand through past, 2-3 years. And now they are making the move to Nike Golf. And they've got the, the Air Zoom Tour Victory 3?
Air Zoom Tour Victory 3. Like longest.
That's a long time.
Think of a longer name for a shoe.
We get it. It's a winning shoe. Okay. And then the Air Max 86 Golf. That's the one with the big bubble, right? The wider bubble.
The big bubble. The OG big bubble.
Okay. So they're doing a golf version of that. And they are pushing it with... it's going to be like a all white colorway for both, but they have interchangeable swooshes, which I think is a pretty cool idea because like we mentioned in the podcast, there's a pretty cynical take on it where Eastside Golf could have been like, we've got 6 pairs, buy the color that you want. But they were like, nah, you can have them. You can just switch up the swoosh and you can kind of, make it your own style. And I think that's actually a pretty neat idea, and it kind of ties into the the everybody's game thing that they're going for. Everyone's game, yeah. So that they're going for.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the collab? What do you think about the move to Nike Golf in general, though, Jacques? Like, do you feel like it's? I don't know if it's like forward or like. Do you think the move is like Jordan to Nike or Nike to Jordan? I don't know. Like, what do you think about that?
That's a great question, and I'm not. I like the move of them going to Nike Golf, but thinking of it in more of a long term, not necessarily this collaboration. Nike Golf has been in a bit of a funk, to say the least, for the last few years. They're not really like they used to have the Nike Golf Club collection, which was really dope, and they were doing really great stuff and really pushing the limits of what golf was and what golf could be, and they've gone away from that. And
what
now
do you think
it's I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's money. I don't know if it's just there's so many things happening over there that people are getting fired and moved around, and so there's no real direction for that department right now.
Right.
Or if it's just like if it's a space that they don't feel like they want to operate in at the moment. I'm hoping that with getting Eastside involved more on the Nike side, that they can start to push a few buttons over there and really help the brand explore the lifestyle and culture side of golf, which has grown considerably within the last, 3 to 4 years. And there's I think, a fantastic opportunity for Nike to get back into the space and really stake their claim as far as what they can do. Now, whether that happens, I don't know. I'm putting a lot on this one collaboration. This just could be one collaboration that they're doing. But I hope I hope that's the vision that this whole thing brings to life.
Right, and you brought up something interesting about Nike Golf not kind of missing the boat with the explosion of different brands, like these smaller brands really kind of like taking over and becoming more becoming more of the focus for golf. For like the younger generation, and like stuff like Malbon, Bogey Boys, you name it, Eastside, and like this is kind of like Nike trying to play catch up and trying to recapture some of that, because like you mentioned, the golf club, I think I was still like doing the blog stuff when that golf club thing was coming up. And I remember being there for like a presentation, and like, what was it? I think it was, Brooks Koepka was there, and Tony Finau, and they were talking about like, their not the collaboration, but like the collections, and how it was so much different than like we would see from other, brands, and how it was really forward thinking. And yet you're right, they did kind of move away from that. And in that time, these smaller brands came up and what kind of took over that space. And Nike is like looking to maybe use Eastside Golf as the vessel to kind of recapture some of that. So it's an interesting move. Maybe it's a good move in the long run, but I just wonder though. I mean, the other question I did want to ask though, Jacques, is like, Eastside Golf has done a lot over the past couple of years with Jordan Brand. There's had several releases. Do you feel like though we might be running the risk of overexposing Eastside Golf?
I don't think that the risk is overexposing Eastside Golf. I think what it is there's so many. I think people try to tune out people. People try to tune out when people are moving things forward. Like, they only want to hear about it so much. You can only tell people like, oh guys, you guys are doing this wrong. Like, you can only hear that for so long before they kind of tune that out. And that's a little bit of what Eastside's message is. It's like, hey, we want to enter into this space and really change the dynamic of things. And you can only say that so many times before people start to kind of tune that out. So I don't think it's that it's oversaturating them. What I think is happening is we're in a space where people are they want Eastside to come with new messaging, I think. But I don't know if they need new messaging. I think they just need additional messaging.
Additional messaging, right. Kind of changing it up a little bit, and not just saying, oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, totally. But yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, though, I think it's still a good move on Eastside's part to, partner with Nike Golf. And maybe this kind of leads to them maybe like, having a more direct relationship with Nike and actually pushing them, and not just like working on like their own projects, but actually working directly with Nike Golf on their stuff moving forward, where it's not necessarily like, Elijah One and Earl, they actually work on like actual Nike Golf products and actually put together stuff that's not necessarily Eastside Golf branded, where they have like a more deeper, closer relationship with them. And yeah, no, I think that's only good. I think that could only be good things for Nike Golf moving forward, because they do need to recapture that magic that they had when they first really started changing things up with over there, especially now that Tiger is gone.
Yeah, that like it's weird because from 2013 to like 2016, 17, Nike Golf was in a really great space. It was a really great space. They were top of class, and it's to see that fall off so quickly. I guess it's not quickly, it's been a few years, but to see that just kind of disintegrate, it's disappointing, because you feel like there's so much opportunity there, and I'd love to see who's running that and what the long-term vision is for the brand, if there is a long-term vision. Maybe they're just getting out of this space. Who knows? Yeah.
So what you're saying, Jacques, is like they should call you and like, see if you got any ideas for them.
No, I mean, I here's the thing. I would love to step into that role. However, I'm not a designer. Like, I can't forecast trends. I can't, but I can help them push the envelope. I can help them find their way, and then they have to put the right sort of people in place around me in order for that all to come together.
Which does happen from time to time. They do ask us like, our thoughts on certain things and where things go moving forward. So it's not necessarily like a direct one-to-one, like, hey, Jacques, work for us or something like that. But, maybe just reaching out like, hey, what do you think about this? Or where do you think we should go? Or something like that. And I think it'd be neat if there was like more of a connection with Nike Golf, with like the golf community, especially the one that's coming up now. And, maybe Eastside's just the first step in that. Maybe they start working with other brands as well. Getting the collab
it's
game.
Sad to see that they're not in this conversation right now.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mean like they should have like do like the Malbon golf thing, or where they collab with everybody. But something's a little bit below that would be kind of neat. But But moving on to something that's also kind of neat right now is Reebok. Reebok Basketball is back in the building, man.
Yeah,
and
that's great, man.
And they have debuted a sneaker that's called the Engine A on the feet of Angel Reese. And I gotta say, man, I think it's a pretty good looking sneaker. It's not something that I would wear, especially now that I am an old head. Not like on the court or anything. Like I'm not necessarily like hooping as much anymore. But
yeah,
I appreciate the energy. I appreciate like that old kind of 90s kind of look to it, the bright colorways, that kind of stuff. And the return of the ERS system, I think that's pretty neat. And it's also on a player that a lot of people are checking for, Angel Reese. And, is it a sign of things to come? I'm not sure if that's what Angel Reese's signature shoe is going to look like, but I think it's a good sign that Reebok is putting a lot of faith in Angel and that they are making her kind of the face of Reebok basketball, men or women.
Which is what we hoped would happen when, things started, when they announced that they were working with her. And like the shoe I'm not mad at the Engine A. I think it's a great step back into the space. I think it's not available till like 2025 or something like that. So it's a pretty far out, but this is a great way for Reebok to get some feelers out on what people like, on what they don't like, how they're accepting the brand, how they're perceiving the brand now, and give them a better way to strategize on how to change that perception and get people more involved in the brand. So stuff like this is exciting to me because they get to see the feedback from the community and from the culture, and it really shows that they're willing to put stuff out there, listen and learn, because from then they can really make the moves that they need to really step back into the space in a really powerful way.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you think though, Jacques, do you think this is actually leading to an Angel Reese signature shoe at some point?
I think we'll get an Angel Reese signature shoe. Yeah.
She has talked about it's going to happen, but do you think this is going to be something that's in 2025 or 2026? Hopefully this is not a situation where we're bullying Reebok like we did Nike.
I want to say 2025, but 2025 would make the most sense considering the rise of the WNBA and women's sports in general, how popular it's getting. But I also want Reese to kind of get through this season, ball out, focus on that. Next season, get the sophomore ball, get to be a sophomore in the league, ball out, and then get that third year, kind of kick that off with her signature shoe, but just keep her star rising. I don't know. Either way, either 2025 or 26, I think is great. I don't think we should wait any longer than 2026 though.
Oh yeah, obviously. And also if when that shoe does come, do you think it's going to be a sneaker that is retro inspired, or do you think they should push for something more future thinking? Because that's a lot of criticism about current basketball shoes. With the Book One, it's too focused on the past. It's too focused on that kind of stuff, and there's not much talk about it needs to look like something futuristic or something that we could actually wear, forward thinking.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is based on consumer demand. Consumers want nostalgia. Consumers want retro. They want stuff from the past. And this is an opportunity to leave that behind. She's been wearing some of the retro inspired stuff or the retro stuff, which is cool and it's great. But I think for her, we definitely need to kind of make that separation so she has something new and has something different. Yeah, I mean, I say that, but then I also think back and try to think Sabrina, it has essence. It's an essence of Kobe and Kyrie kind of mixed together. So what's the Reese version of that? And I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that.
And just in general, I think it's great that Reebok is getting back into space, getting back into basketball. But and do you think the hope is, what do you think Reebok's goal should be? Do you feel like they should get to that point where they are competing with the Nike and Adidas of the world, or should they just be, not maybe just aim for a niche or something like that? Or do you feel like starting kind of doing the comeback thing, kind of like what Puma did, signing Breonna Stewart, LaMelo Ball, doing that kind of stuff and just slowly building it up? Or do you feel like they try to go for something, they like sign the next big NBA rookie, like a Juju Watkins in the WNBA? Like, do you feel like they should be going for something like that right away, or it should be like a slower build?
I think it should be a slower build. Like, don't rush. You got to get. I imagine they have time to get this right. I would rather them get it right than to rush it. I'd rather I'd rather 100%. I'd rather it be right than for them to rush it. So take their time. That's why I said they don't have, like, Angel Reese doesn't need to have a signature shoe next year. You can wait until 2026, but that gives you time to make sure that it's done the right way.
And then with also having Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson at in top positions, how much do you think that ultimately helps Reebok from a consumer side? Like, they see the two legends up there, and you see like they drop retros of those, and you see that they are endorsing athletes like Reese. How much do you think they still resonate with the community today? Because I feel for me, I think it's great. It's great to see our heroes from back in the days take up these kinds of positions of power and actually have influence with, like, what the brand can do. Yeah. But do you think that resonates with, people of Reese's generation? Do you think that actually matters to them?
I think it does, because Allen Iverson and Shaq are like pop culture superstars. They're not like just a random player that played and, did well. They've broken through and live beyond the world of basketball. They live in like the mind. They live in the mind of everyone as personalities as well. Obviously Shaq more than Allen Iverson, but Allen Iverson still has kind of broken through that ceiling. So from a marketing and PR perspective, yes, 100%, because those guys are followed. People still listen to everything that they have to say. Now, are they designing the shoes? No. But Shaq's a brilliant businessman, as we can see. So him finding his way through Reebok and making Reebok profitable and making Reebok, helping Reebok explore new worlds, making the basketball division profitable, I should say, and helping that division explore a brighter, newer world. I think we have the right people in place to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think so too. I think we're really seeing like the return of Reebok to something that's a little more, a more prominent role in the sneaker community. Yeah. I think that's only a good thing for us. Like, we need that variety out there. We just need that. Like, we need to be talking more about the Reeboks, the Pumas, and if someday I think there was a comment in one of the videos. I think they were talking about like what would you think like an on basketball shoe would look like. And I've never thought about that before. Shout out to that person who wrote that in the comments. But I was like, oh, what could an on running, that brand, what could a basketball shoe of that look like? And I don't know what that would look like, but I would love to see them try at some point, though.
Yeah.
Just because
on running
get that variety.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the variety really helps everybody, and it pushes everybody. So I would love to see On Running do something like that. Yeah,
awesome. Cool. Well, shout out to that person who left in the comments. I wish I could remember who that was. I'll try to find it like while we're talking. But anyways, Jacques, let's move on to like a kind of a speed round of sorts, kind of like a PTI style, like just talk about like, things for a couple minutes and then kind of just move on to the next thing because we want to just like kind of speed through it and talk about it. So sports, we like sports. We love our sports. We do all that good stuff. So let's kind of like, we are sports people on Hard Pass. So we talk a lot about sports on the show. Yeah. So let's start with Formula One. Jacques, the season is starting to get really interesting with Lando Norris really challenging for the Drivers' Championship against Max Verstappen. He's really catching up with the points, but it could be so much better. And a lot of people in F1 are saying like McLaren is kind of screwing up Lando's championship aspirations by, letting Oscar Piastri, Lando's teammate, go for points, go for as much points as he can instead of, necessarily like letting Lando through and trying to get as much points as possible as he tries to chase Max. Because at this point, Oscar is not really going to end up winning the Drivers' Championship. Lando is really the only one who has a chance to win.
Has a chance,
Yeah, and McLaren has a chance to win, a pretty good chance to win the Constructors' Championship, but McLaren is kind of screwing things up for Lando, maybe sort of. Like I said, I'm a new F1 fan, so I don't want to say like I know all there is to know about that. But if you were in McLaren's position, would you let Oscar kind of give up positions or points in order to let Lando, gain as much as possible to win a championship, or but also running the risk of Oscar being upset? Do you think like Piastri might actually end up being upset in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, he's so far back, and I mean, is the goal? I feel like they're trying to do two things at once. They're trying to get Lando to win. They're trying to get Lando to win, and they're trying to get Oscar in the top 3.
Yeah.
So he's sitting just outside of the top 3 right now. He's what? Let me hold on. He's
a little bit far back. Like he's behind.
He's only like 20 points. He's only like 20 points behind behind Charles.
Yeah.
So he's not super. I mean, he's not like out of the. It's not like he's not far enough out where it's like he doesn't even have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But Lando has so much ground to make up with Max that you don't want to jeopardize that opportunity either.
And I feel like watching F1 for these past couple of months, it's starting to become clear that maybe that's not the best thing. You need to have a number 1 driver and you need to have a defined number 2 driver, kind of like the older days of like Mercedes when Lewis Hamilton was dominating and Valtteri Bottas. As much as everybody loves Bottas, we are big fans of Bottas here on Hard Pass. Yep. He was clearly the number 2. And when there were opportunities for Bottas to win or to have like a higher spot in the standings, there were times where Mercedes would tell Bottas to be like, hey, you need to let Hamilton through in order to get more points because he's the one that's actually competing for the Drivers' Championship. And when you have a team that has 2 drivers that are trying to compete for that championship and are trying to figure themselves out and trying to declare themselves the number 1, that's a problem, I think.
Yeah.
So not establishing that hierarchy has ended up being a problem for McLaren. I mean, at the end of the day, they'll probably win the team championship, but to Lando, this might be, who knows? Because, it changes year by year. This might be his only best chance to win a drivers. And if it's going to come down to Oscar just trying to get his and Lando trying to get, it could end up being a disaster for McLaren. And it's fun to watch because I don't have a rooting interest in any of these teams. It's just fun to watch for me. So, but if you're like a McLaren fan, or a Lando fan, it must be really stressful at the moment.
Yeah, you would have to be in like that. That's one dynamic in F1 that I just find really interesting. And again, we're both new to this, but the 1 versus 2 and having to like fall back to let someone else win. Yeah, I just can't get used to that. It's fun. That just blows me away.
Yeah, we're not used to that in these American sports. It's just not.
None of the sports out here are you like, all right, yeah. Let somebody else get first place. Like, wait, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? Exactly. Let him pass me? I don't understand what you mean. Like that's a weird thing, and it almost makes it hard to root for the drivers. Like you have to root for the team and not the players in a sense. Like you have to be a Laker fan. You can't be a LeBron fan. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, which is, I guess that's how it used to be here. We used to be all about sports. When in sports, it was all about the team and not players. But we're transitioning more to players now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a lot of people are transitioning to like, I like these players. I like my team, but I also like this player. So that just makes it a challenging situation. And, for the team, the team managers, they want to make sure their team wins.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They're not,
because that's more money for them.
That's more, they probably don't care who gets first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're more concerned with like, how are we going to maximize our points at this race?
Exactly. I mean, it matters to them to a sense that there's that prestige of like, oh, our team has the driver's champion. but the team championship is the one that actually brings in the most money. So I think there's that split of like, what do we care about more? And from what I've read, I feel like some teams care more about the drivers and some teams care more about the team championship. But with McLaren, it's like, which one do you guys care about? Because it doesn't seem like you guys know which one.
Know.
We don't know. And they've got a lot of heat for the last race. So that's why I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. So moving on to the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, the other big rookie in the league. It seems like she has wrapped up the Rookie of the Year race. I mean, Angel Reese has been doing well. I think she's now like the all-time leading rebounding leader, which is crazy for a rookie to achieve. But at the same time, Clark has led the Indiana Fever to a better record. I think they've already clinched a playoff spot, and she leads the league in assists, which, again, another crazy thing to think about because she is, just a rookie. But now there are people talking about Clark possibly getting into the MVP race, which I just assumed it was like A'ja Wilson's to lose. But there's a lot of chatter about Caitlin Clark becoming MVP. Now, from a chaos perspective, from a content perspective, like Caitlin Clark winning MVP is probably the best thing for the WNBA to just get people talking and to get people paying attention. But we don't really see rookies win MVP. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Rarely. Very rarely does that ever happen. But what do you think, though, Jacques? Like, if you're the WNBA, do you think it's best for business if Caitlin Clark were to win MVP?
So I'll say it this way. If Caitlin Clark can take the Indiana Fever to win a championship, yes, without question. Outside of that, I still think it's Asia's to lose.
Right. I think so too.
Asia's still cooking. She may not get the publicity and all of that Caitlin gets, but she's still cooking. She's still making moves. She's still winning games at the last minute. She's still doing her thing.
I think she's breaking scoring records as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's undeniable what A'ja is doing. However, the light, so to speak, is on Caitlin. Yeah. So I think, it's great that she got them to the playoffs. I love that. That, like, having her on the team has brought an energy to that team. It's brought any energy to the administration. It brought energy to the fans. Got the fans excited. So, and that all translates to a better performance from the players, which is great. And it's good to see that, that sort of excitement and that they're walking into that space. But I'm not sure the MVP is. I'm not sure the MVP is what she is in the cards. Will they give it to her? I think it's possible, which would be not a knock to her, but I think it would be a knock to A'ja. It'd be great for her, but it would be a knock to what A'ja has been doing all this time.
Right. Yeah. And I guess at the end of the day, the other thing that I also wanted to mention about the WNBA before we go to the next topic is I think it was for the best for all the talk about people wanting Caitlin Clark on the Olympic team. I think this break, I think it was I ended up being like a month-long break where she wasn't playing. I think it ended up being the best thing for her and for her team. I think it was a time for them to like get together and gel and train while that Olympic break was going on, but to also refresh and relax because my goodness, she's been going since last year. If you think about it, from college to the W, that was like a transition of a couple of weeks at most. And she's been going nonstop since then. And to have that basically month-long break in between has really refreshed and recharged her and has gotten her to the point where people are giving her that MVP consideration. So for all the people who were talking about, she shouldn't have been on the team. We could talk about that for whatever. And at the end of the day, Team USA still brought home the gold medal. And now Caitlin Clark is an MVP candidate. And I think that was ended up being the best situation for everybody involved.
The best situation. 100%. Agreed.
Yeah. So moving on to the last sports topic, Jacques, because, we talked about the NFL already on Hard Pass, and I think we've got everything we wanted to say about that. It's like, ready. Football's back. Woo, woo. Go Niners. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Yeah, bang, bang, Niner gang.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. But golf, Jacques. Last week we talked about Scotty Scheffler balling out, and that was before the Tour Championship. before the tour championship, and now post tour championship, he is $62 million richer. Well, not like that's the total for the season, but my goodness, he has accumulated $62 million, which is the most ever for a PGA player. I think I read an article where he's like earned like 100 something players on tour, like the bottom 140 or something like that. He's earned more money than those players. His caddy makes more money than like several, like I think his caddy, if they had like counted his earnings, he would be like in the top 20 of the money list, which I think is kind of crazy and kind of awesome for the caddy. I mean, shout out to his caddy. But it's also got the hot take cycle going, Jacques. Scottie Scheffler, he did have an amazing 2024. And I think now, there was the Xander Schauffele, Scottie Scheffler, whose year would you rather have talk? And I think post-tour championship, I think most people would agree Scheffler did have the better year.
But even before the tour championship, I would have said Scottie.
No. Last week, we were both in agreement at Scheffler. And, you did mention the reasons why players would say they would rather have Schauffele's year as a competitive thing. And I totally agree with that. But now people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves, though, Jacques. And they are now starting to say Scheffler's 2024 is better than Tiger Woods' best years. And I gotta say, y'all need to calm down. Because
I'll let you take this, because I mean the stats are the stats. So I'll let you dig in on this one.
So I mean, I looked it up and I saw Tiger Woods' best years, and not to compare you know what? I am going to just compare 1 year. Tiger Woods is 2000, which is his best year, compared to Scottie Scheffler's 2024, which is his best year. Tiger Woods in 2000 won 3 majors. Won the U.S. Open, PGA, and the British Open. He won the U.S. Open by 15 strokes, Jacques. Just at the U.S. Open. No one does that. The hardest tournament in golf, the toughest challenge. Well, that's what everybody says. It's the toughest challenge. It's the most difficult course, the settings, whatever you want to call it. Tiger wrecked the field. And he won 9 times that year in dominating fashion. Not to say that Scheffler didn't dominate in 2024, but Tiger was on a different level during that era, man. And I just have to say, we need to calm down. Let Scheffler bask in the glory of his accomplishments, enjoy it for what it is, and not necessarily get right into like, oh, did he have a better year than Tiger? Or, yada, yada, yada. First of all, no, he didn't have a better year than Tiger. And second of all, let's just appreciate it for what it is. A great, fantastic year. And there's nothing left to say other than we should just enjoy these things while as they're happening, and not necessarily be victim to the comparison game.
Yeah, we don't need to do the comparison. Scottie had a great year. Let's not take anything away from that. But also, let's let Tiger live and do what he does. Like, maybe Scottie comes back next year and he has an even better year. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Now we can start having that conversation. But this is 1 year. Let it be what it is. Yeah, and let's keep it pushing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the money list, that's different.
Well, I mean,
I wonder what that money is normalized. If that money was normalized for like what the players were getting back then, I wonder if it would still be.
Yeah,
because like we have
2000 money. Yeah.
I wonder what that would look like.
It'd be pretty nuts, and I'm sure Tiger would have appreciated it if he was earning Scottie Scheffler money.
Man.
Yeah. Tiger would be like, we'd be up into like the hundreds at that point.
Yeah, Tiger would be making a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, so that was the sports section, Jacques. Football can just be like, we'll just move that to another time.
Yeah, football, anyways, we're back. Fantasy football, all the things.
Before we say goodbye, Jacques, it's time for Sneaker Mount Rushmore Plus. I don't know why I'm doing it. We need to have like music for this segment at some point. We do.
Yeah, get some kind of thing happening here. That'll work. We did it.
No, we're not doing that. Anyway, so today's Sneaker Mount Rushmore Plus is the Air. Nope, we are not doing that today, just because in honor of us covering the Foamposites today. I thought it'd be neat if we did the Nike Air Foamposite One Sneaker Mount Rushmore Plus. So once again, one OG, one non-OG, collab, player exclusive, and wildcard. I'm trying to shorten this because when we cut into the social clips, it makes it go a little faster. But anyways, Jacques, let us start with the OG colorway. And there's only one.
Yeah.
So I guess
yeah,
we
so
don't really
royal.
have to talk about the neon royal, dark royal, royal blue, whatever you want to call it. The OG colorway of the Nike Air Foamposite One is our OG colorway, and there's really no other choice. So we kind of just have
no
to
other
go with
choice
that.
there.
Yeah. So you went first last week. I guess I'll go this week first. My non-OG colorway of the Foamposite Rushmore is the gold colorway. Why? It's obnoxious. There's just something about it that I just enjoy, appreciate the audacity of it. And every time I've seen it in a store, I've always thought to myself, I should buy this, but I'm not going to. But there's always this thought I should just buy it and just put it up somewhere in this house and just display it for just the absurdity of a shiny gold Foamposite.
This shiny gold shoe.
For no other reason. No other reason. No other reason.
Yeah, I would go with eggplant. I would go with eggplant.
Ooh, good choice.
I think that's a good one. I think that's a good one.
Popularized by Wale, I believe, was one of those. It was one of those sneakers that came out during like the 2000s. So yeah, no. So that would be your non-OG. For my collab, I will go with the something that just came out recently, the Tekken foams.
That's a good one.
I love that collaboration. I love the idea behind it. Tekken has always been, out of all of the fighting game franchises, the most fashion forward, teaming up with Nike to do something with the Foamposites, which again is part of Nike's push to make the Foamposites relevant in 2024. Tekken was a great collaboration, so I'm going to go with that.
I like that. I'm going to go with the, now I don't know if this is technically a collab. No, is it? I don't know. The Paranormans. I don't know if that's technically a collab though.
I think it is because it's tied to the movie.
Okay. So Paranormans.
Paranormans. It's tied to a movie, so that's definitely a good one. And there was definitely a lot of energy for that when those were dropping. Wasn't there like a promotion where you had to show your scary moment or something? Like, I remember there was something like that in order to actually win the shoes. I think I remember actually doing that promotion or something like that, even though I was already doing the blog thing. Nike never sent me a pair of those. Not that I'm bitter about that, but anyways.
That's funny.
Do like those. Those are definitely cool. For player exclusive, there's really not a lot. They're mostly tied to Penny Hardaway.
So I mean, there's only one that I can think of that I would say.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with something that he actually made into a player exclusive. It's the Sharpie. I think I would consider that the Sharpie because the story behind that was he had the blue foams back then, but I guess part of the NBA rules was there had to be the colors had to match the uniform. And I think maybe they were wearing like the black Orlando uniforms, but he was wearing the blue Foamposite. So he actually took a Sharpie and colored over pieces of the Foamposite shell, and it ended up being like a black and blue color of the Foamposite instead of blue.
I would go with that same one too.
Yeah. So I mean, because I guess there's really not a lot. Easy. There's not a lot of those, so I think we would just double up on those, the Sharpies.
Hello. Oh, there you go. Sorry, volume went down. Say that again.
Oh no, you would also go with the Sharpie? Yeah, I mean that's fine. Just because there's not a lot to choose from. Yeah,
there's not a lot to choose from, and to be fair, that's the coolest one.
Yeah,
that's the coolest one.
And it's got a great story behind it, and it's like it's a player exclusive it's a thing that he made into his own player exclusive, even though technically it was like your typical
the easiest one.
Yeah, and it's a great story behind it too. So definitely, for my wild card, I am going to go with the copper. Because once again,
copper.
I love the obnoxiousness of it. It's shiny copper, bronze, whatever you want to call it, and it ties in to Penny Hardaway's nickname, Penny, because pennies are made out of they're made out of copper, right? But anyways, yeah, I just love the obnoxiousness of the look of it and just the shiny of the vibe of that color. So copper.
All right, that's a good one. So I have a couple in mind here. I'm not
okay. All right. Cool.
So there's the Supreme. And then there's the what's the other one? There was Supreme, and then there was the Yeezy, the Yeezy one.
Oh, the Yeezy. Oh yeah,
in the Yeezy colorway. Okay. That one, the Supreme, the Yeezy one. Yeah, I think, those are my wild cards.
Gotta pick one of those.
Probably more. I'll say Supreme.
Good choices, Jacques. Good choices. We ended up picking the same one for two of them, which is fine because there's not a lot to choose from. We don't really have a choice. Nothing we can do about that. But
our options are limited.
But yeah, for everybody else, if you have your own Foamposite Sneaker Mount Rushmore Plus, let us know in the comments. Thank you for those who have voted on the first one, which was on Instagram, I believe, and you ended up winning. Not a fan of that, but it's What are you doing? For people who are only listening to the audio version of this, Jacques is acting like there's like this huge crowd clapping for him, and he is acting like he just won the election or something like that. Which, oh my goodness, it's you really need to watch the video version right now. It's a beautiful thing. Let me win next time. There's the Jordan 2 poll is up now. It's on the socials. Please vote for me to win, just so I can do the same thing that Jacques is doing right now. And he's still going. It's amazing, really. It's amazing how he's keeping this bit going for several seconds. We're closing out on a minute of Jacques acting like he's appreciating. He's really doing his best, like I won an award look, and it's a sight to see. It's really a sight to behold. And I'm running out of things to say because he needs to stop at some point. We are really running into overtime with this bit, Jacques. I can't really keep going with this.
You just want to be grateful, Juan. You want to be grateful. Sorry, I'm not ungrateful like you.
Where did you get this? Where do you get this idea that I am ungrateful? I have no idea what you're talking about. I am thankful, grateful for everybody who watches this show, who watches Hard Pass, who checks it out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Give us 5 stars on all the places you can rate us. So at some point we can put ads on this show and sell out. That's the goal.
That is the goal. That is the goal. All right, you guys. Thank you for watching. Jacques, Slade, Juan Martinez. We'll see y'all in the next episode.
Do we do the socials too? At Easyville, EasyYVILLE.
All the places.
At Custo, KUSTOO. But yeah, no, good. All that good stuff. So yeah. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we out.